Okay, so this is you were referred to me from Denise, my business partner, and you've been working with her with the emotional eating stuff, right? And so she got to a point, she was like, you need to work with Robin. This is where.
Send me your YouTube videos.
Yeah, and she said, watch these. If they make sense to you, you should work with Robin. Okay, so you and I, this is like our second hour together. We did a consult. We followed up, I think, like the next day.
Yes.
And then today's Monday. What did we talk on Friday? Was it Friday that we talked last? Friday? Yeah. Yes, it was Friday. Or was it Thursday?
I think we talked Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay, I'm all off, but either way. And just to give a little bit of your history, if I were to like give you a label in terms of the severity of your eating issues, would you say you're anorexic and orthorexic? And also exercise addicted, like exercise bulimic?
That's fair.
Yeah, and bulimic, right? Because you do purge.
No, I don't purge.
You don't purge. Oh, but you did it through exercise. That's right. Okay. Okay, so how are you doing? You just said, oh, I've got notes here. And I was like, oh, my God, cool. Yeah. Can I record it? And you're like, okay, if it helps someone. Okay. So go ahead.
I'm doing really well. It's amazing these days since we spoke, all the things that have come to me are all the things that I've become very aware of. The biggest thing so far is all my passwords. I had like capital E-C, I meant E-clean. I had unbelievable, all my passwords had something to do with some kind of body image. And it took me at least a couple hours to change them all. I still have a few that need to change. There's some that I probably can't change just due to the nature of it. And then also, one of the questions, like a challenge question, who is your best friend? Exercise. Isn't that sad? It's just like, how messed up is that? That was my best friend.
I'm so happy you're seeing that now. Like, it's affecting you in a way that you actually feel disconnected from those things to the point where you want to change them.
Yeah, because it's so ingrained. Like, I was not aware of what I was doing, but just like every time you're typing in that password, every time, it's just another reminder. And you don't realize it's so unconscious. And yeah, it blew me away. And something else I realized is people have throughout my life pointed things out, and I always thought either, like, for one, people would try to warn me of my marriage and tell me I was in an abusive marriage and it wasn't healthy. And I just thought they wanted my husband, or I just thought they were jealous, they wanted my life, and I didn't listen. And then the same thing with the food. My daughter reached out to me a few times and said, Mom, I think what you're listening to is not accurate. And I was just like, oh, they're sabotaging me. And it wasn't. They just were really concerned for me, but my mind took it a different way. And in addition with that is, during the divorce, my ex-husband, he had an affair, and he left me for someone who looked like a boy, just a very thin woman, very short hair, but she didn't look like a woman. In my mind, I always thought he was going to leave me. I always thought he was going to leave me for somebody who was younger, with big breasts, perfect body, long brown hair. But he left me for this woman, and I just couldn't figure it out. And I asked him one day, and I told him what I thought he would leave me for, and he goes, it's not about looks. And you know what? I've been divorced for almost like 12 years now, and just 2 days ago I realized it's not about looks. All these years I've been held hostage trying to have this perfect image, and it's not about looks. And he told me that how many years ago?
Does it really kind of make you open your mind around how off you may have been this whole time around how you've perceived other people? I mean, you think you're connecting those dots, but even your previous husband and what you thought he liked and what he wanted, now you're realizing that it was you that was like that.
Well, I guess probably the things he said, I was taking a different context. You know, like he said, like once I had a child, he's like, you're rude, you had a kid. Or, you know, he would get mad at me if I would eat any kind of food. Like, I know one time we went to Cinnabon and I ate a Cinnabon, he was so mad, he would talk to me, I ate the entire thing, so screw you. But then that changed completely how I eat. And then another time we were out to dinner with his brother and had a drink, and he was so mad that I had a drink. So I guess I just internalized what he said, or those things.
Got it.
But yeah, it's just so amazing. Like, you know how you said that I'm in this prison or the jail and I have the key? The funny thing is when I was going through the divorce, I left the house. The attorney wanted me to keep the house, and I'm like, I don't. It was a prison. It literally was a prison. I wanted to be free of it, and we joked that we were going to take pictures of me because our windows had those, those wood things in them. I can't think of what they're called. But we were going to take a picture and kind of set it as a postcard, kind of a joke, and just finally out of prison. But it's like, that was so many years ago, and like, I'm still there, or I'm getting out, or it's all these just amazing things that are coming to light now that I just wasn't aware of.
Amazing. Well, you're starting to look at things from a different perspective, and sometimes information changes. I swear, when you change your beliefs or you change, well, all we did was really change your perception of body fat. That's all we've really been focusing on.
Exactly.
Amazing. So overall, tell me how you've been with food. I mean, how has your relationship with food been impacted by any of this?
So what's really amazing is Wednesday night after we spoke, I left the gym and I was like, I drove by Dairy Queen. I'm like, I want Dairy Queen, but like I'm not having Dairy Queen. So then I drove. Normally I make my dinner, but I'm like, okay. Then I drove by the dine or I'm driving. I'm like, I'm gonna have to drive. And I was like, no, I don't want to drive. So I'm still at the place. I'm like, I'm gonna have to. I know the tell. So I got in my car and I walked. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It probably was an hour struggle I had back and forth. It's like, you know what? You want freaking Dairy Queen? You go to Dairy Queen. So I went to Dairy Queen and I ordered it, and it was a mind game because of course I got the calories up there, but I ordered what I wanted and I had it and it was fine. And
did you eat until you were okay? Good. I was gonna say, did you eat until you were sick? So you didn't.
No.
That's awesome.
And what's interesting is like normally when I eat, I exactly know my portion. So I eat the entire thing. I don't want someone to have any of my food because I know that's exactly my portion. I know. And let's say like a little bit of all on the floor, it gets ruined. I'm like, oh, kind of disappointing but it was nice. I ate what I wanted and I ate till I was full and I was done. And there was quite a bit of food left. Mm-hmm. But normally you're just so controlled what I can have and I'm having it. And so it was very, very empowering and freeing. Mm-hmm. And I went to the grocery store yesterday and as I was walking around, I'm like, okay, I can have whatever. So that's another one I'm struggling with is what do I like? What do I want? Like you can have whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. And I look, and of course, a podcast I was listening to, rice is the devil and it's evil, but I bought a thing of fried rice, like, well, this is what I want. And I walked by, and of course, cereal is pretty much the demon as well. I walked by, I love Raisin Bran. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Raisin Bran. I grabbed it. But grabbing that box, it was like, okay, what kind of milk can you have? Oh my gosh, you're going to have skim milk, you're going to have whole milk, you're going to have coconut milk. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, these thoughts. So before...
all these podcasts. Remember when I was like, you need to start throwing away the podcasts, the emails, you needed to unsubscribe. What you're basically doing is rerunning the fear-mongering of these podcasts and these experts and these health righteous gurus that are orthorexia themselves. You're just replaying their message in your head. And how does it leave? I mean, that type of anxiety is just terrible. Don't you agree?
I agree, and I didn't realize, like before, you just avoided all that stuff, and I just ate so routinely. I liked it, but really, I was thinking about it. Like yesterday when I ate something, I was like, I eat for texture. I don't really eat flavor, and I think it's just from. So that was a question for you too. Is like that's pretty typical, right?
Yeah, because you've never really been given a chance to just be real and be human, and to figure things out for yourself, and everything that you might have wanted to try, you were basically shunned or shamed and feared to not taste things and to feel bad about it. And so I know for me, when I started, I had to go back to feeding myself as if I was a child. So I went to childhood food like Kraft mac and cheese. Like I had to, even if it was like the devil food, I forced myself to just start like I was feeding a kid. Make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and use a real peanut butter and use real jelly with sugar in it that's made from, what tastes good, and get real bread. And if you want white bread, get white bread, and just start from there. And I had to put it on a plate, and I had to chew it. And the only way to do that in a relaxed state is for you to let go of the need to be thin, right? The only way you could do this is for you to accept ahead of time that, you know what, all the stuff that has been traumatizing you, like you have post-traumatic trauma from those podcasts, right? So when you get around the rice, it creates this, because it's somewhat paranoid, and it's full of fear, right? So the only way for you to be willing to do this is for you to accept that if you have that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you may end up with a heart attack. You're going to have cancer immediately. You're going to, you're going to have leaky gut, and you're going to have like all that insane fear that has been driven into your brain. You have to really go in to accept it. Even if you hear it and you're like, that sounds so whacked out. Yeah, well, that stuff is whacked out.
It's so sad because that's exactly what it does.
I know.
It gives you all this fear, and it just
conditions your brain. Like but you gave it permission to do that.
Right. Exactly.
So you have to then go into how your brain was conditioned to have that type of extreme reaction to a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you have to be okay. That's how I had to do it. I knew in my mind, it's like, I should be able to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it shouldn't make me feel bad about myself. I shouldn't be ashamed, and my body should be able to handle this. And if my body can't handle peanut butter and jelly, I'd rather just die now. So let's eat it and see if I die. Sounds extreme, doesn't it?
Well, truthfully, those are the thoughts that go through your mind, so you have to push it and you have to challenge it. And so I'm really proud that it's so silly. I'm proud I bought Raisin Bran. I'm proud I bought rice. And I took a picture because I'm just like, this is what I bought. And, a month or two ago, I added back in blueberries, but I had cut blueberries, and I cut apples, and I had 2 apples last week. And
you cut out apples, you cut out blueberries?
Yeah. I mean, I was just like, so it's, my food choices was so small.
Yeah, that's the orthorexia.
So I just...
Pause for a second. Do you see now that the people who are teaching this have mental illness?
I guess I never would have connected mental illness. I just realized, how they... Well, and the one that I listened to is his co-host doesn't have the great results, and she's doing every test imaginable, and I'm just, thinking, gosh, I just want to reach out to her and tell her she should look into this. It's I guess mental illness is the right way to say it, because their way is correct, and you need to do exactly what they say. And you divert, you're just this horrible person, and they call out every other type of eating way, and I think that's wrong. Nobody should be ashamed for how they eat.
No, but if I want you to step back, I'm going to ask the question again and really sink this in terms of observing what it would take for someone to do this themselves, but to encourage everybody else to do it. I mean, you're saying you eliminated blueberries, and they'll give you reasons why, but I want you to consider for someone to eliminate food to that degree and based on fear. Do you hear how they might have mental illness and they don't question it? In fact, they're promoting it because it makes them feel superior and they want everybody, right? So they promote it with super extremism, without lenience, no grace, pride, and then judging people's physical issues, right? And the self-promotion around what they're teaching and how that person, if someone believes that person, how they're more likely to have that same illness.
Oh yeah, and then it perpetuates and it gets to their family, and they're mad at their family, they're mad at their coworkers, they're mad at their whatever for bringing in the wrong kind of food. And and even like I told you, I saw that invoice for what's coming in for work, and immediately my thoughts were just negative. How dare they? Da 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 da. And it's just food. But had I not been aware of those thoughts, I I probably still physically felt it on some level, but now I'm aware and I can start to see and I guess really make a shift.
Well, and here's
sad.
something to here's something to really think about too. And I love that you just said it's really sad because you're having compassion. I want you to imagine how this person who is doing the podcast, promoting this healthy eating, how they must be functioning inside. Like, can they go out to dinner? Can they experience a restaurant? What if they traveled the world? Would they even be able to feel comfortable eating with everybody around them? I mean, just go into what type of isolation, if they're promoting this and they're doing it, how isolated they must be from reality. And imagine being one of their children, how that might feel.
Well, it's interesting because he, I guess he doesn't come out and say it, but it's like he thinks he's better than everybody else because he will, like I said, he's taken, maybe I didn't tell you this, but he's taken videos of people leaving Starbucks and saying if they have a dome lid, then they're going to be fat. If they have a low lid, they're not going to be fat. And he will shame people, like which I think is wrong. I think it's totally wrong. Nobody has that right to do that to anybody. But he's done that, and he will make comments. And he's gone back to like a class reunion and called out like all his people, and his whole hometown was mad at him. But he, no sugars, no grains, like he doesn't eat. So it's very easy at a restaurant to eat like that, but of course he makes everyone else around him feel bad, and then it's so sad.
No. Imagine being one of his children.
Yeah, because it's got to
be like you'd have to hide food. I would have to, if I got to be able to go to a friend's house, I would absolutely binge at the friend's house if they had other foods. The parents don't know what they're doing. They just think it's healthy. And you get to the point where it is, how do they know what health is? And why is health riding 100% on the food you're eating? Like, is there any benefit to mental well-being and social well-being and emotional well-being? And if your brain and your psyche is 100% devoted to what's in your food, doesn't that sound like an obsession? And if your body is healthy, would you need to eat that way? That's something for you to think about. If your body is healthy, would it require that you eat to that type of extreme measures?
No, and I kind of went off. I mean, this is just one way of eating, but when I went into that, I went off the deep end because my mom was so ill. But, like, I can tell you, I've done the bodybuilding diet, the 6 meals a day, I've done all of it. So it's like, that was just the flavor of the week that I've been doing probably the last few years. So,
yeah, but this person, you need to know that there's a lot of people like that out there promoting fear of food in an extreme way.
Yeah.
And in a cognitively distorted way, so they don't describe one blueberry is just as bad as eating a whole bucket, right? They don't tell you about quantities.
A banana, oh my gosh, don't you dare eat a banana. So I haven't ate a banana, I don't know how long. I had half a banana this week too. So it's just like little tiny wins. I mean, I didn't die.
Yeah, what you need to go into is like eating the way you really want to eat, as if you were never exposed to this. And so it becomes more pleasurable. And you'll find too that even when you think in terms of health, that it is so crazy. The idea of healthy eating is so messed up out there that you're going to have to really just rely on how you physically feel. Right? So having a bowl of cereal is fine. Just why eat till you're full? Maybe if you're listening to your body's response to that food, that might be a great way to know how to do this. Right? To rely on the body versus relying on some mentally constructed idea of what's good and bad. Why can't you just enjoy something? And if your body feels satisfied, stop. Why do you have to eat something until you feel sick and then blame the sickness on the contents of the food, but not how much you ate of it?
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah. You know, something else I was kind of struggling with this lately is I'm not really hungry, so I can go a long time without eating, but then my mind will be like, oh my gosh, you have to eat something, you're going to really hurt yourself. But it's just, so do you think that in this process, just be like kind with it and just don't, because immediately it's like, so I stopped and got a snack, but I wasn't really hungry, but I just thought it'd be better.
Well, you got to tell your mind, you have to be able to tell your mind the actual truth. If you're not hungry, you're not to eat. That's a sign that your body is just super inflamed, and it could be because you're so starved. And so your body doesn't need as much food. It's been conditioned by the anorexia and the orthorexic limitations that you are really sensitive right now, and you just need to really be okay with that and just accept that for now the body isn't that hungry. You don't need that much food, and that's okay. It may change, it may not. And so you have to really allow your mind the freedom to not have to think. And you do that by saying, I will tell myself the truth. If I'm not hungry, I will not eat. If I'm hungry, I will eat. And I'm going to eat enough. I'm going to eat adequately. I'm not going to undereat anything. I'm not going to get full. The best as you can. I mean, you're learning this, and you're learning how to eat food you haven't eaten in a long time. And so you got to give yourself the lenience to figure this out. Right? That's why you need to be okay with weight gain to start. You need to be okay with all those things you're afraid of, because if you're not okay with those things, then your fear projects into needing to restrict what you're not secure with. Right? And so to be able to expand your food choices, you're going to need to relax around what you expect physically. So expect to be uncomfortable. Expect to gain weight. Expect to feel inflamed, because you got to give yourself wiggle room to learn, which is what you're doing. I'm actually so excited that you went ahead and went outside of your comfort zone and bought those things that you really like cereal. How cool. You feel
yeah, like I never thought I was going to buy it again. Like it was like a big no-no.
Oh, but yeah, it's like eating candy, don't you know?
Yeah. So yeah. Another thing too is you know how we were talking about my daughter, and so I opened up to my daughter and I apologized to her and told her that this is an eating disorder and I've had it for a long time, and you know, and as we started talking, she said it was so hard because I always say, eat what you want, you don't have to exercise, eat what you want. But then she would see me with my food and all the exercise I did, it would make her feel really bad. Mm-hmm. So you are right, it's not what you say, it's what you do. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that was pretty powerful, and like even now, like I keep like sending her pictures, I'm trying this, and Mom, what did you eat now? And like it's also helping her heal too with her food stuff. Because even say she was binging. She did have a problem with binging, and she said she watched somebody, and the binging person said, eat all the stuff you've like restricted and allow yourself that, and when you're done, you know when you're done, and you won't have to keep eating that kind of food. And she said, Mom, I think I'm done. Today she went grocery shopping and bought all the stuff she likes, and she goes, and I think I'm done. So that was really cool. And she just,
and to know that it's always going to be there, right? And to know it's always going to be there. It's never going away. It allows you that relaxation around it. Like, oh, I don't have to keep it or hoard it or focus on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she just texted me a little bit ago and goes, Mom, what did the lady say about 93% lean meat? And she said, eat what you want. And if it tastes good, eat it. And she's just like, oh, we've just been so used to this. So, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's just amazing how much this has just affected so many areas. And, you know, another thing that happened is, so after I spoke to you, like the following day, Thursday, every interaction I had was so beautiful and so amazing. I ran to this lady and I said, you're my favorite person. She goes, you're my favorite person. And then everywhere I went, I was getting compliments like off the wall. And I'm just like, this is so weird, because it's like, it was just unbelievable. It's like, and then Saturday I went shopping, and like people bent over backwards to help me. The lady at the store ended up overriding something, so I got an additional discount. Somebody else made sure I got the free gift, and I was just like, I really think my energy has changed. Like, don't have that nervousness or that maybe uptightness. Like I'm just so much more chill and like
more human. You mean you're more like human?
Yeah.
Like you can be a real person now? That doesn't have to be perfect. That can just be real, and you know, you don't have to compete or pretend or play a role anymore. You can just be yourself. And isn't that just an amazing feeling? And don't you agree when you feel that way? It's like, don't you want everybody to feel that way? You just want everybody to feel how amazingly unique they are in their humanness, right? I remember that feeling. It's amazing to feel connected as a faulty person. That's not a judgment. It's like we're all trying and we all don't know what we're doing. And to pretend that we're perfect at everything, what a miserable way to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, it feels good because it allows you to connect to others. You don't have to compete or position yourself. And the other thing, don't you agree, is because you're okay failing you're okay with your lack of awareness prior, and you're understanding and forgiving yourself for it, that other people's opinion, even if it is critical, how you just don't care anymore. That they can have whatever opinion they want about you, and you don't have to carry the burden of fixing it for them.
Exactly.
It's a good feeling to know that no matter what anybody thinks, they can think you're dumb. They can think you don't know what you're talking about. And you know what? That's okay. Relative to what their expectations are, they're right. But you just don't have to meet their expectation because you're not their slave.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
So I have a few more really good things, and then I have things I need to work on. So we talked about that guy I was interested in, and I reached out to him, and he felt the same way.
Oh my God, that's so
scary.
awesome.
That was super, super, super scary, but I did it, and
yeah, but you know what? You had nothing to lose, right? It's like you can not reach out to this guy, and which makes it a 0, or you can reach out to him and see what happens.
Yeah, so it was super cool, and like it's empowering because it's like, wow, it was super easy. Like I can do this. You know, it's not hard. It's easy. So it's like before I just had all this like mental energy where, oh, the girl can't do that. The girl can't do this. No, the girl can, and I did, and it was easy, and it's mutual. So that's really cool. And with that, the other person that was kind of on and off for over a year, I completely ended it, and he's okay with it. Like before, he couldn't accept it. So that feels absolutely wonderful to be done with that one.
Awesome.
And then, because you said I need to risk rejection, so I went to the beach and I wore a bikini, and and I did not die.
Right.
And I went in the water, and I so people could see me, and because before so I didn't die, so that was very, very amazing, and
did it feel good to just be like whatever, just to let it go?
Yeah, because it's like how many years I've not gone in the water, you know, like how sad, and like the water is remarkable, just to lay there in the water, like I just can't wait to go back and like just lay in the water, be on a floating, and just enjoy that peace, you know. So it was remarkable.
Good, and to just be a part of the beach rather than being a part of your thinness or your fatness, disconnected, right? To go and be about the water. That's what it's about. Going to the beach is not about you, is it? It's about the environment. That's really what you're going for, is to experience the environment.
And just have that peace with nature, like I said, to be in the water and to feel that water like up against your body, and just to be like, it is so amazing. You know, like I said, all these years I hadn't done that. And normally a one piece and very covered up. No, I wore a 2-piece, and I'm like, I did it, and
whatever.
It was amazing. Yeah, and I know I don't try to be hard on my sister, but I've been hard on my sister, and like get very, so my sister is a meth addict. She goes in and out of recovery, and I get like mad or hurt, or so I don't know. It's just tough. But I just decided I watered my life, and I'm just going to accept her where she's at. You know, if she falls again, that's okay. Because I would rather hear from her once in a while than not hear from her. Like, it was almost a year since the last time we spoke.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'm just going to accept her where she is, and not like I apologize to her and said if I've ever put pressure on you or made you feel like you're not good enough. She has a wonderful personality. She's an amazing person, and that darn addiction, you know. And
well, it's no different than what you were doing.
Right.
It's bizarre to even think. When people think of addiction, they think it's about the meth. It's about the cocaine. It's about the alcohol. It's not. It's no different than what you were doing. You just chose some superior idea of thin supremacy and healthiness to be addicted to and to use to feel better about yourself. What's the difference between you and your health righteous thinness and her meth, really?
Absolutely nothing, and that's what I try to express to her, that we all struggle, and that, you know, and what's super sad about mine is people, I would say, did put me on a pedestal and say, oh, you're just so healthy, you're so healthy.
Right.
So I just want to scream and say, you know what, that was healthy. You guys
that was terrible.
You have an illness. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, well, so it's like putting your addiction on a pedestal and putting hers down in the trash. When you both are suffering from the same total and complete lack of awareness and self-concept. You know, you connect to your behavior more than you did yourself. She's connecting more to, you know, her shame and needs for substance than she is for herself, right? And at this point, you can see that maybe, which is amazing, I think, that you're making these connections. I mean, I don't think it's amazing. It's actually how I functioned too after recovery. It was like all of a sudden this knowledge was there that I didn't have before. It was this amazing sense of awareness, and the compassion part for yourself. It opens up you to have compassion for someone like your sister who before you had so much disconnection with. It's just amazing to me. This is just incredible.
And then when I do catch myself feeling rejected or upset, I just start calming myself. I will stop the thought pattern. I will breathe, recognize the feeling. What is this trying to tell me? Where is it connected to? It's pretty crazy how a lot of things are still connected to my marriage. But it's just okay, let's just work through this. So I found that really awesome.
You know what, can I pause you for a second? I do want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
But on that note with the marriage thing, that part is actually maybe easier than you think it is. You have to go into your concept of, first of all, you need to go back into the way you perceived that marriage early and understand that it makes a whole lot of sense, that it shouldn't seem confusing. It should seem like a perfectly placed puzzle. Like every piece is in the puzzle. Nothing's missing. It should make total sense to you. Knowing from this awareness that you were attracted to that. He was attracted to you because of the way you were. It makes absolute sense. And it makes sense why he left you. And it makes sense why it caused so much trauma. You know, you've got to go back into that, I would suggest, to really reconcile it. What I mean by reconcile it is you learned your lesson. Your likelihood of repeating the same thing is 0 because you're in such a different state personally within yourself and more self-aware at this moment, that in this state of self-awareness, the same exact type of person could come in front of you and you would not be attracted to it. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I think that's what happened with that person with that year thing. You know, I think it was like a line in the sand was drawn. I'm done.
I'm not attracted to that.
He accepted it.
Whereas there was something I was attracted to, and now reconciliation to me is a way to end that chapter, to say that chapter was meaningful, that chapter served me, even though it was painful. But that was an important part of my progress as a human, as a soul, to progress and to be more aware. be more conscious. And I needed those experiences to actually have this awareness, what I have right now. For you to be right here at this moment, first of all, think of all the suffering you had to have and experience at your own hand, your own abusiveness, right? That it had to be that bad for you to be willing to surrender your stories. That to some degree, you could say your ex-husband played a vital part in this process for you to get right here, right now. Similar to, I look back at my upbringing as a child, my parents, the extremism in the religion, the actual struggle I had when I left for college, the sexual assaults, the rape environment, all of those things I look at and go, every single part of those every single thing played a part in what it took for me to suffer the degree I did to be aware today of what I'm aware of. Right? But in order for you to get there, you're going to have to reconcile. That means you close the chapter and say, I feel like I'm good with it. Like it served a purpose. I'm so grateful for it. And I now can end that. I don't need to put energy there anymore. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So what you had said, the reason why I brought that up is because you had said, as things, when they come up, I have to pause. I go to go. You shouldn't have to do that.
Uh-huh.
That to me is like, you're reactive. It just comes up. It's like, you don't need to be reactive anymore. All you need to do is reconcile that relationship and forgive yourself, forgive him, understand it, update the knowledge you have because of it. It's like updating your hard drive up to current wisdom and realize that served you and you will never make the same mistakes again. So there's no point to even hold on to the history of it at this point. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's something that we can work on.
No, I agree. It makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it does. So I'll do that.
Good.
So then,
next thing you were saying, I know I'm interrupting you in these little bits because I want to. I have information. I want to say it, so I'm not going to remember it all.
Oh, absolutely. I guess I don't remember where I was at with that, but
you had just talked to me about your ex-husband and letting go of the boyfriend that you had been having issues with in and off and holding on, and then you let him go. Then you said, and I've noticed, when
I feel rejected,
yes, that you
I sit with it and I just let's see where, and I can calm myself and just like deep breathe through it and then recognize what that feeling is and where it came from, and those are where those thoughts came about him. So those. I guess I'm just trying to recognize the feeling and just work through it and not
respond.
Like before, like if here's another thing after speaking to you is normally I have some kind of distraction on. I've got a podcast on, I've got music on, there's always something where it's never really silent. And what I've noticed, that first conversation that night, I was in the car for over 3 hours, I didn't have anything on. The silence was beautiful. And so before, let's say, I would get upset, I would figure a way to distract myself. So whether it's text somebody or some kind of to read, I just go and I breathe and I work through it. So I thought that was a good positive thing.
Yeah, it's almost like you're going into your own mind rather than trying to escape it.
Yeah.
Like you're actually probably getting more help from being in your own self-awareness than you are trying to find an answer on the outside. So there's benefit to going inside. So that silence is really important in terms of focusing in to the inside. Why would you want to distract from this important work you're doing? inside.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Does that make sense or no?
No, it makes a lot of sense. That's why I mentioned it, because it is very empowering to, when you are upset, to realize you can calm yourself down and you can really pinpoint what is causing, what happened.
Yeah, doesn't it? Isn't that amazing? Because before you would have thought someone else has the answers and you got to read their book and they'll find the answers to what's going on. Now you're realizing, like, oh my God, I have all the answers. It's all inside myself. I just have to go into that space and process and allow myself to feel these emotions so that I can understand them better. And like, yeah, it's far more effective, and it's instant when you do it within yourself.
It is, because like, whoa, I didn't think that was still there, and like, wow, or oh my gosh, that is a totally different perspective on how I internalized that for all these years. Like, wow. So it's, yeah. Things I need to work on. These are things that I've realized I'm still doing. You'd mentioned quit body checking. I am body checking. I catch myself.
Yeah, you're still worried. That's what that tells me, is you're still worried about gaining weight. And so you're afraid to gain. That's what that is. So fear, you still have fear of gaining. You may be like allowing yourself a period of time to rest, to not worry about it. But I will tell you this, all this freedom is going to go away very quickly if you feel like you're gaining. So the body checking ultimately is your way of checking what's going on physically, because you need to make sure you're not gaining. So you need to be very clear around your fear of gaining. That's there. You wouldn't be body checking otherwise.
Okay, yeah, that's fair to say, because like I said, I was really aware that I'm still doing it, and like
if we were to say we're going to let you gain weight, you're going to gain 20, 30 pounds. We're going to let it happen. And you in your heart, you can go, you know what? I'm okay with that. Like, I feel that because I have to get I need to be okay with this freedom to breathe with food. And I don't want to have to focus in on what my body's doing and what's going on. And you can't afford to even hope that you don't gain, because then you still have to keep on body checking, right?
Right.
If you could accept it now, like, I'm going to gain 20 pounds and go internal and ask yourself if that's something that is worth freedom. It's a cost for being free to figure this out, that your body, you're not managing it anymore. The body checking is you're still managing it. So if we stop the body checking, if we stop all the monitoring, what's going to happen to your body? What does your emotional mind say?
Well, the emotional mind says I know it needs this. I mean, you were saying what I was doing is monitoring the weight gain. I didn't realize that's what the body checking is. So that's pretty powerful. But like you say, is it worth the freedom? It is worth the freedom, because the thoughts I had are so minimal compared to what they were. It's a moment instead of the ruminating thoughts. So it's worth it. It is. So
that's the next. Yeah, that's the next step for you, is to say, okay, so you've had a taste of this freedom and how it is impacting your life. So now let's go into, so if it means physically that your body gains 2-3 sizes, it'll find a stability point. But if that's where your body's going to be, eating freely, are you willing to be at that weight to keep this freedom?
It's really hard to hear, like, the sizes.
I know, that's why I did the size instead of the weight.
Yeah, but it's
so feel it.
It is worth the freedom.
Are you saying that mentally, or are you feeling it in your heart? Like, you know what? It needs to be coming from your heart. This is important here. You need to be able to feel that it is worth it, and you feel that way. You're not sitting there crossing your fingers going, oh, I hope it doesn't happen. No, it is like, if that happens, I'm not doing anything about it. I don't need to do anything about it. It's worth it to me.
Here's the thing, though, is like, if it happens and I'm happy, it's worth it. Like, it's not even happiness if I'm just not in this misery or this suffering anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Because the suffering is monitoring it.
If people don't like me no more because of it, then you know what? They aren't the right people to have anyways. Because I had someone I used to date a while ago, and he told me if I gained 20 pounds and it'd be over. Like, you know, and it's just like, I think back to that, I just think, yuck. Like,
yes, notice you wouldn't be attracted to that guy again. You'd be like, yeah, bye-bye now.
You know what's interesting is people I've dated in the past, like, none of them, I mean, they were great, and it wasn't about their look. It's never about look. I don't know how I got so absorbed in that.
So, is it worth it? I mean, and you have to accept it ahead of time because you need freedom now. So if you're not okay with the weight gain, you're not going to get freedom right now. You have to keep on body checking. You have to tiptoe around the food and hope to God you don't gain. So you kind of have to go blind completely to what's going to happen to the body. And the only way for you to allow that is to accept your fear, which would be to gain weight. So it's like being able to say, by going into your mind into that worst case scenario and going into, is it acceptable? Can I accept it? If that happens, can I accept it? If it means freedom. If you can say, yes, it would be worth it. I could go up 2 sizes. I could go up 3 sizes. That would be worth the freedom of not caring, not worrying about it, not thinking about it, not having the pressure to fix it, not being defined by it. So the willingness to accept that gain, the willingness to gain, is so powerful because that's how you can your body checking will go away. Because you're assuming, you're already giving it grace to gain. So what's the point of the body checking?
Right.
You connecting with that?
Like I said, I did not connect that that's what that was doing.
No, but now you can see it, and now can you see how this is going to change? It's like, because if you haven't been willing to gain yet, you've been willing to not lose, you've been willing to stay put, but the willingness to gain weight ultimately is going to give you such an incredible boost of this freedom. The freedom gets really expansive beyond what you've already got. Imagine that. I need you to go into your imagination right now and imagine if there is no pressure in any way at all. Total blindness from the body. Total blindness, like you're blacking it out from existence. So no body checking, no nothing. If you get bigger clothes that fit. So no matter what size you are, you're going to get clothes that fit. And you're blind to it. You have no pressure. There's no point to it. It's meaningless. Tell me how that feels.
It feels scary, but I know it's what I need to do. So I guess I'll have to...
What's so scary? What you're doing is really scary. What you've been doing is really scary, isn't it? When you think about the way you've been living, isn't that something that's like a nightmare that should be feared greatly?
You're right, it is a nightmare. It really, truly is, and I would not wish it on my worst enemy. I would not. I would not.
So when you say what I just described, is it really scary to not have to... Go beyond that. Reach beyond that fear, that initial fear you had. Now reach beyond that. So go into the truth of what I've said. It is totally and completely blacked out from your purpose. Your purpose will never, ever again be to focus on your weight, your size. Even if you're bigger, you will never have the role of fixing it ever again. And it's nowhere close to harmful as what you've been doing.
It would be 100% freedom because it is what holds me back.
That's what.
Everything.
Tell me how it would feel to have total and complete freedom from, like I said, you're to wear clothes that fit no matter what. You're to find clothes that you can express yourself with no matter what size you are. That no matter what size the body is, it is not your business. It is truly the body's. And the body is taking care of you. It is 100% doing its job. Your mind is to not worry about it, think about it, monitor it. And if you gain 20 to 30 pounds and you're 2 to 3 sizes bigger, that is not something you are to focus on ever again. You never have to fix it. It is not a problem, and it is permanently going to be that way. Tell me how that would feel, knowing that you never again have to do anything in any way at all to change it.
It would be complete freedom, and I would have so much more energy, and I'd have so much more time, and I would have a great life because it could be filled with so many other things.
Yeah, right. It's almost like your whole entire space just opened up. Like, oh, I could think about things that are important to me, that can make an impact. It's like I don't have to, and I want you to go into if that freedom if it costs you 20 to 30 pounds in gain, your body can handle that, and that's where it's going to manage itself. Is that worth it?
It is worth it. Because even now you look around and, I don't know, it doesn't matter what size you are, it's just what kind of person you are. And
yeah, well, the body's got to manage itself. The body has its own ability. I mean, really think about that for a second. The body has its own intelligence that's so beyond ours. Our brains are not meant to function, to be focusing on the function of the body. It's not. Our brains are not meant to do that. The body has its own mega intelligence that is so beyond our comprehension. So to think that we're capable of the task of what we think is quote unquote health is insane. So you can relax, let the body adjust. It's not like you're going to be binging your brains out eating candy all day. That's not what we're suggesting. We're just suggesting you eat like a normal goddamn human being. Give yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich if you want it. If you want a salad that's made with kale and blue cheese, go for it. If you want to travel the world and have, go to Mexico and have ceviche without having to think about what's in the fish, that's amazing, right? That you can just taste it and be a part of that culture and be a part of it, right? That you don't have to separate your whole life with the task of micromanaging every goddamn detail. Holy crap, right? Wouldn't it be amazing if all this requires is for you to be willing to gain weight and accepting of it right now? That's all it takes. Wouldn't you take it and run?
Absolutely.
I know, I did. Let me tell you, I actually signed a contract with my body that I gave it the freedom to be up to 500 pounds. I was like, you know what? Physically, 500 pounds is probably equal to how much I'm suffering right now. So I could handle up to 500 pounds as long as I have the freedom of my mind, right? The ability to that open space of freedom, right? As long as I have that open space of freedom, I can think and watch the birds. I can be a part of the beach. I don't care what anybody thinks about the body I'm in. I'm not making them be in the body. I could see if I was making them be inside my body, how they would be upset about my body. But it's not their body, it's mine. I'm okay with this. As long as I'm free to be a part of the beach, the water. I want to be like a seagull, I'm a human at the beach, no different than a seagull at the beach. If I'm 500 pounds, I'm fine with that. So I'm not saying you have to go up to that size, but that's what I did. I permanently honor that the body is its own entity. It has its own intelligence. I will never again assume that I'm smarter and better than the body. And then I will never not participate with this body ever again over anything conditional. I will participate in this life if it is a life, whether it's fat, thin, pregnant, not pregnant, diseased, if I lose legs and limbs, all the infinite possibilities of change the body will experience in a lifetime as it ages, menopause, I will accept the life it gives me no matter what condition it's in. That life is precious. Why waste any more time fixating on, are my hips the right size and is my belly button sucked in? You know, you hear what I'm saying?
You're right. We're lucky. It is a very precious life.
Yeah, so why waste it on fixing the body when you're not even intelligent enough to know what that is?
Right.
So if your body gains 20 to 30 pounds by you eating freely to hunger, and that's where it lands, so where it's easily manageable within your hunger rhythms in a way that's free, that doesn't require obsession, are you going to be okay with that?
Yeah, I'm going to be okay with that.
Me too. I'm like, and so what that does, once you go into that acceptance, you can now fully and completely let go. Feels like you're jumping off a cliff into a whole nother space of being, doesn't it?
Well, I guess like I have a concern, like there's so much media and all that, so you just stay away from it.
No, you shouldn't be concerned about the media, because what power does it have?
I guess it has none, but it's...
No, and it's funny. You can hear it, and you're going to go, "Wow, that's really cognitively distorted. Look at how fear-mongered. Look how arrogant they think they are about knowing what this is."
You know what? You're right, because Saturday I went to a workout class, and at the end of the workout class, the instructor goes, "You know what? You are the 5% because 95% of the society would not do this," and just went on. And I just got
That is the
instantly
most
mad. How dare you?
because she's
Because here does not.
so ignorant, right? So ignorant.
Yeah, I just thought, how dare you? We're not better. You know what? How many people in this room right now have body dysmorphia? How many have an eating disorder? Like, no, don't. I just thought, no. I was instantly, like, just shut off and irritated. And then I went somewhere else, and a woman walked in, and she was offered food, and she's like, "Oh, I'm a vegan." And I just thought, oh my gosh, like, all these little things of awareness just popping up. Like, it just, you know,
it's everywhere.
Their own, and I have no judgment to her, but it's just like,
they just don't know what they're doing. Right? You were there. You were in it. They're inside that cage, and they think that people in the cage are better people, and that is going to eventually create so much suffering that they have to be willing to leave the cage. And that's what you're doing. The willingness to leave that cage. It's like saying, in order for me to leave this cage, I literally am giving my body complete freedom over everything, and I'm done. That gives me freedom to now live a purpose, have a meaningful life, instead of a body that's been super controlled and lifeless.
It's been tired. Like, I thoroughly abused it, and it's tired. Like, it's...
Well...
So that's... It needs to end, and it's just... It's sad. It's really sad. I don't think I shared the story with you. When my daughter was skating, I fell asleep in the stands. It was in a weekend. I made sure I got my workout in. Man, I got my workout in, but I was exhausted. I slept the entire weekend. One of the moms had to come wake me up for her performance. That's sad, you know, but it was... Nobody ever, like... It didn't occur to me until now, which is how many years later, what I did, you know, and, like, we talked about it. She was so mad at me. But I didn't know that then. I didn't even realize it was my behaviors, you know? It's just the years of being tired, but man, I got my workouts in, you know?
Yeah, and you can stop that now. It's like, give your body a space of freedom to be unmanipulated. So when I did this, I quit exercise completely. I went for walks just to get out in nature, just to get some fresh air. But it was not speed walking. It wasn't, I got to go for an hour and 2 hours. I have to go a certain amount. There was no control over any of it other than I'm just going to go for a walk. And when I feel like coming home, I'll come home. And, but I refused to manipulate anything. I wanted to give the body a chance to be a real body without this insanity. And so it's like giving the body, like give it the space to get fat. That's what it does. So stop everything you're doing that's trying to keep it from getting fat. Completely abandon every single thing you're doing that is preventing it from gaining weight. And you just let it happen. It's going to feel like, it might feel like you're going to die. I just want you to know that. I think you've made a lot of progress in a short period of time, but you might not have done this. But we're getting you there. We're kind of getting you very close to this spot, which is, it might feel like a total collapse of what you thought you were. And who are you? And if you abandon all these things that you've attached your identity to, who am I? If it's not, I am exercise, I am nutrition, I am healthy, I am thin, or I'm sucky because I'm fat, I'm unhealthy, I'm, all the positive or negative kind of definitions, if you're letting all of that go, it's like being reborn. Same soul, same body, but completely re-entering the body in a totally different way of being. So like what I told you I did, I abandoned everything. I started at about 4 years old. I will eat what I would feed myself as a 4-year-old. I will eat what I remember my mom feeding me. I literally made plates with sliced up apples and some grapes and a little thing of milk. And I made Kraft mac and cheese, which was such a no-no. But I was like, no child should feel bad about themselves. So I honored the child. And I started at the child. I felt like I honored the innocence of me. And I just started my life over. It was like reincarnating. Without having to get a new body and a new life. It was like the same body, same life that it provided me, but it was a complete shift of my approach to living. I abandoned the religious ideology. I abandoned a lot. Good news is I didn't have to abandon how to integrate into society. I didn't start as a literal 4-year-old. I still had that type of social conditioning around, how to integrate. But I wanted to integrate with the real me instead of some imposter that I was brainwashed to be. So if my body was authentically, realistically fat, I was prepared to let it happen. And so I abandoned everything I was doing and I just sat still in that space. And then once, I just focused in on eating to hunger and allowing myself to eat the way I would have if I could start my life over. And I just, within days, was just moving on with my life and started focusing on how much I loved nature and I love these walks and I would never, hurt this body again. It is precious what it's providing me. And I have all this mental space of just infinite learning. You feel like you're there?
Yeah, I agree with you. I do love this body and I don't want to hurt it, and it is precious.
You need to let it be what it really is now. You need to say, I will allow it to become what it really is. So if that means that I need to be inactive for 2 weeks, I can do that. Once I feel that it is stable, maybe then I'll rethink, how do I want to exercise in this new way of being? Do you feel like this is within reach? You're here, you're ready for it?
Yeah.
So what would be the point of body checking?
There is no point. Like I said, I didn't realize that's what it was.
Okay.
I didn't even realize I was doing it because I told you, oh, I don't look in mirrors, I don't do this, and you're like, you're somehow checking. And then I realized, like it never correlated to me.
Mm-hmm. Once you accept anything, the point of that is just there is no point because you're not going to do anything different. So even if it's getting bigger, nothing's going to change. You're not going to change what you're doing because you're not willing to sacrifice the freedom anymore. So if it gets bigger, it's like, what's the point of checking? It's getting bigger.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm not going to change because I can't go back to there because I wouldn't survive. I can't go back there.
No, well, you can just tell it was not, it was lifeless, wasn't it? Just totally lifeless. Sad.
It was, very sad.
Anyways, we gotta end our session.
Okay.
I don't know if you got to go through everything, but I think that where we've left here is a good stopping point.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I feel good. We got through everything. It was good.
Awesome.